So Nintendo is going after Pocket Pair, who are the makers of Palworld, which Palworld, by the way, is coming out to PlayStation today. That was in the show. So if you want Palworld, there you go.
Dude, you're not interested in Palworld?
Hell no.
Really?
Hell no.
How come? I thought that would be right up your alley.
Nah. You know, I did look at it.
Oh, it's true, though. You have burnt out of the whole Pokemon thing.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, it's not for me.
Over it, yeah.
Not that this is that. Like, this has its own kind of thing. Like, this is more of a survival game, if anything, from what I have seen, right? But yeah, you look at the designs of the creatures, you think Pokemon automatically. No one's going to fault you if you do. But, yeah. So this game hilariously was mocked as Pokemon with guns, right? But it's much more than that, I guess. But that's how it's known. So I guess when this came out in January, everyone automatically thought Nintendo's going to go after these guys because of the designs. They look too much like Pokemon. People made YouTube videos comparing some of the creatures in Palworld to Pokemon and why they're the same and ripped off and all that. And Nintendo, all they said in January was, we are aware of it and we're going to like pretty much look at it. That's all they said. Months later, we are now almost in October. They finally filed they're taking them to court. And it's not for what you think. They are taking them to court because of a mechanic that they patent, which is basically the act of throwing a ball to catch a creature or summoning it. So obviously Pokemon, you throw Pokeballs to catch Pokemon. And in Palworld, you kind of do the same thing. They have a patent for that, which is ridiculous in my opinion, because I think once you patent mechanics, that's a little crazy. That's like patenting like walking a certain way. Like, it's kind of nuts. So their whole argument is, you are infringing on our stuff because you're using this mechanic of throwing a ball to catch a creature. Like, so that's what they're taking them to court for. Sounds like they have a case. I don't know. I guess, like, I'll throw it to Darren first. Darren, like, this isn't like, I think what I'm fascinated by isn't so much the fact that it's happening. It's just the fact why it's happening. It's not because of the creature designs. It's because of a video game mechanic, which I think is insane. What are your thoughts on what you just heard me say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the straw that broke the camel's back here. Like, you've been so like quiet in the background for the longest time. Like, we're just casual over this, and then boom, hang on a minute. Now you've crossed the fucking line. That's I get it. I mean, like, to me, it sounds like a piss take from the other side of things. And I think it's just like with Palworld, and I think that they probably just got to a point where they said, you know what, fuck these guys. I can only assume that, if I'm honest, but yeah, I mean, if you fuck with the big guys like Nintendo and Pokemon, and it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass at some point. So. Yeah. But, safe just for a mechanic like that, as you say. Like, I think I kind of get it.
I get it, but it's kind of scummy, you know? I think it's kind of scummy.
Bit tit-for-tat, isn't it, you know?
It's a bit scummy. Chris, what do
we'd say in England, it's handbags, you know?
It's handbags. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, the timing is, they kind of come at a worse time, right?
Yeah.
Right before they show this game off at the State of Play, they launched this suit a couple of weeks back or a week ago, whatever it was. So the timing is absolutely horrible. It's interesting. I would love one of the nerds to go look at manga and animes and take a look. Is Pokemon really the first one where you throw something and you capture it in a fucking ball? Like, nobody else would have ever figured that out?
I can't confirm it, but I think it was Dragon Quest.
Right. And so, and obviously Pokemon was the most popular out of all of them, right? But that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That would be like somebody suing Power Rangers and saying, or Power Rangers suing another brand and saying, well, you can't have a morpher because the Power Rangers have these morphers and it allows them to turn into these superheroes. So, you got to have your own take on it. I think sometimes when it comes to stuff like this, like, I understand why you would want to protect your intellectual property, but for a casual like me, I see Pokemon's inspirations on many characters and games throughout the years, right? Mm-hmm. So it is too bad, but it is Nintendo and they don't F around.
Yeah.
I mean, they've launched a war against emulation and have TKO'd it a couple times, right? I don't think you'll ever get rid of emulation, but Nintendo's certainly taken a stance against it.
Yeah.
And now this lawsuit against Palworld, we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, if this game comes out and it starts doing any kind of numbers, I wonder what that says for the future, right? But yeah, horrible timing.
You know, it's interesting that the timing exactly like that. It's like the game is closer than ever. I mean, it's out now, but like it was closer than ever when this happened to being released, because it was in beta when it first appeared, and then Nintendo decides to strike now. This is all calculated, like very calculated by them. But it's like, why wait? Like I understand waiting, but it's like, why is it that? I wonder why this is the thing that they chose to go against with, right? Because I feel like they could have gone after them for designs. There's a rumor that Pocket Pair used AI to create these creatures, which AI would just look at Pokemon and, you know, remix that. So it's like, that's why it's like, damn, this is what it is. It's crazy. I remember Nintendo also filed a patent for Zelda, for Tears of the Kingdom. Link falling down and aiming his arrow, that's patented. You can't do that in another game or they'll go after you.
That's wild.
It's incredible. It's insane. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this thing. I feel like this is only the beginning. And Nintendo, you know, they love litigation. They're gonna dry these guys out. That's the thing.
100%.
They're just gonna make them pay until they can't pay anymore, and that's it. You know, this is a small company. This is nowhere near the size of a Nintendo. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't see a bright future for Palworld, but yeah, Nintendo.
I mean, you can definitely see the inspiration that those are the Pokemon characters, right?
Oh yeah, there's no denying that.
Like that big fat neon one looks like, you know, Pikachu on steroids, right? Yeah. And then the other one, the one that's flying in the air with the long tails or whatever, it looks like the other one. Is it Mewtwo? It's one of those other ones. They all have inspiration. The little fluffy one is the Jigglypuff guy. Yeah, and then, you know, you have the purple or blue dragon. Like, that's definitely, you know, you can tell I'm not a Pokemon guy at all. But you can tell he's one of these other dragon gimmick guys, right? and I just think it's crazy. I mean, imagine anytime anybody made a movie with similar characters and special effects and things like that looks like a Tim Burton film. Tim Burton comes on and goes, oh, wait, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Just because, he's the only one that's allowed to have these Halloween-y kind of characters, and he's the only one that's allowed to, you know, to do that. No, that's fucking nonsense, right? But I don't know. Is this a little bit too on the nose? Darren, is this too on the nose when you look at those characters? Is that a little too much like Pokemon?
Visually, yeah, it's the first thing I was drawn into, right? As opposed
right,
to the fucking...
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this looks like Pokemon on steroids. When does this come out?
Like, I wouldn't give a fuck about the Pokeball, like, or anything like that. I'll just be looking at it visually going, are you trying to mug me off? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That would be the first...
What have they done to my Pikachu?
That would be my gripe, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, my Pikachu doesn't look fucking cute. Like, come on.
Right.
So, yeah, no, it's... visually, that's where I first went. But when Ryan came out and said, you know, it was more or less, say, targeted at the mechanics of everything, and I'm like, well, you even said it yourself when they went after the other company for the Zelda, like the arrow going down. Like, seems to be that's kind of what they go for. It's like their, you know, it's their thing. And again, if they're patenting these things, then they got full right to go for them.
Yeah, it's just I don't think they should. That doesn't make it right, but whatever. I find, like, it's funny because if you look back to, like, the designs in Palworld, if you look up a Digimon, remember Digimon from back in the day, 1999?
Yeah. Oh, jeez, yeah, now you're taking us back, man.
Those don't look like Pokemon. Those are their own things, and I think a lot of it has to do with the designs with their eyeballs. All of them have, like, the same kind of eyes going on, and that's always distinguished a Pokemon and a Digimon to me. But it's like, you go to Palworld, it's like, no, the designs are so inspired by Pokemon. You can't even mistake that for a Digimon. Like, it's not like it's clearly looking like Pokemon. Like, there's no ifs, ands about it. So,
yep.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I guess that doesn't matter because that's not what Nintendo's going after them for. So, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if down the line they're like, oh, by the way, these also look like Pokemon. Just throw it in.
Right. if this game's a giant piece of shit and it gets 2 out of 10 and it doesn't do any sales, I can see this just disappearing. Like, no one's going to sue it. But it looks good. It actually does look good. Whether it'll play good or not, we'll see. And I think that'll dictate just how more serious Pokemon or Nintendo gets about this.
Yeah.
But,
well, the beta did downloads, man. The beta I forgot what it was.
It got tons of downloads.
I remember that it hit some record numbers. So that's why
it did numbers.
They have to, nip this in the bud right now.
Right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. I feel like it's going to take a while to settle.